What is up, bros and barettes? I am Inkslasher, and welcome to another episode of Black Ops 4 5 Things, the series where we look in depth at Black Ops 4 at things you may not experience very often to give you a better idea of some really weird interactions that go throughout the game. And this series has been going on this channel for a while, all the way since Black Ops 3, but today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Since earlier this week they added in custom games into Blackout, we are now able to further test a lot of Blackout details. And today we are doing just that. So today's episode is 5 things you didn't know about Blackout within Black Ops 4. So the question before I hop into it in this video is, what do you think of this idea? Do you like testing things within Blackout, and would you like to see more? So if you enjoy what you see here and want to see more of it, the easiest way to show me is simply hitting that like button. The more likes this video gets, the more likely I am to do more videos like this one, especially in Blackout. On top of that, if you have anything you'd like me to test in the future, whether that be weapons, vehicles, grenades, or anything within Blackout, feel free to ask some questions down in the comments below. But without further ado, let's hop into it, test some things, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So the first one, it's probably one of the more obvious ones out of this entire list, has to do with fall damage within Blackout. So of course in Blackout there's some bigger buildings and things you can jump out of compared to multiplayer. For example, construction is one of the areas that has the most elevation, and jumping off the top of this building is a sure way to kill yourself, unless of course you deploy your wingsuit. However, there are some ways to reduce or completely mitigate fall damage within Blackout. So the first one we have here is sliding at the bottom of a fall. As you can see here, we are at the top of parking garage, and from this height to the ground, you can see when I land, I have 122 health left, which means it dealt 28 damage upon the fall. However, if we go and do the exact same fall and slide at the bottom, you can see I have 137 health left. In other words, it only did 13 damage. So basically, if you're falling and have no other choice, make sure you slide at the bottom and it'll save you a little bit of health. But what if I told you there was a way that you could jump from the very top of construction and survive without deploying a wingsuit? Well, as a matter of fact, there's actually 2 ways of doing so. The first of which is actually a perk that you can pick up that's called mobility. It, one, allows you to run a little bit faster, but it also completely mitigates fall damage no matter the height. As you can see here, I go right off the top of construction, land on the ground, and take absolutely no damage. The second way is a little bit more difficult and nuanced, and this one involves the grappling hook. So once again, if you're falling from the top of construction, you then have to grapple to something before landing on the ground, and timing does matter for this one. You have to fully use the grappling hook for it to mitigate the damage. So here's the example of me doing it properly. However, this can also happen if you do it improperly. So as far as using that grappling hook, timing is everything, and your timing has to be on point. So as far as mitigating fall damage, the best way to do so is with the perk mobility. After that, a grappling hook is also a great option, but if you have no other option, just make sure you slide at the bottom of that fall. The next thing that we wanted to test was vehicles against certain pieces of equipment, and the first one we wanted to test was barricade. So as we know, barricade is essentially a wall that emits radioactive waves that slowly do damage to you and can kill you. But when you're in a vehicle, what exactly happens? So the very first thing that we tried is every single ground vehicle running full speed into the barricade, starting off with the cargo truck. So we got a little running start with the cargo truck, and upon running into the barricade, it absolutely kills the barricade, and if there's anyone behind it, it also kills them. It's also important to notice that when we did this at full speed, our character took absolutely no damage in doing so. The next vehicle we wanted to try was the ARAV, and this vehicle is basically a combination of the ATV and cargo truck. It's got more armor than the ATV, less than the cargo truck, but moves faster like an ATV. And once again, upon hitting that barricade, it completely destroys it, and you take no damage. And finally, we have the ATV, and this one I did not think was going to work at all. Once again, we took it at full speed, hitting it as hard as we can, and as it turns out, the ATV running into the barricade can blow up that barricade. However, this one does a little bit of damage to you. In this case, it did 33 damage to us, and I'm not sure whether it does that amount of damage every time, but through this test, that's what we found. So then the next question we had is, what if you were not going at full speed? What would happen in that case? So we took the biggest vehicle, the cargo truck and just kind of slowly bumped into the barricade, and it didn't do any damage to the barricade. It absolutely melted our character. So the radiation can do damage to you when you are in a vehicle, and it actually kills you pretty damn quickly. So up next after this, we wanted to test out the razor wire. Does the razor wire do any damage to vehicles, or does it do any damage to you while you are in the vehicle? So once again, starting out the testing with the cargo truck. What we found here is that the cargo truck just completely tramples the razor wire. You get a hit mark, and it appears to do absolutely no damage to you or the cargo truck. Next up, we have the ARAV, and this one actually kind of surprised me. So to destroy the barbed wire, it is going to take 2 times of running it over to destroy it. And on top of that, the first time you run through it, it is going to deal 15 damage to you. However, as we tested with the ATV, if you drive through the barbed wire slowly, it is going to deal 15 damage, aka 1 tick of damage for every second you are driving through it. The second time you drive through, however, you will not take any damage and the barbed wire will be destroyed, just like with the ARAV. Then the final piece of equipment that we wanted to test on every vehicle was, of course, the tripwire. Now this one I specifically wanted to test against 150 health with no or level 1 armor. And this one we can talk about very, very quickly, because with the cargo truck, you die instantly. With the ARAV, you die instantly. With the ATV, you die instantly. And we even tested it with the helicopter, and to my surprise, you die instantly as well. However, the vehicle doesn't actually explode. You just die. The one other thing I'd like to stress about this is, once again, this is test with only 150 health, not 200, and on top of that, no or very little armor. These results could be different with level 3 armor, level 2 armor, and 200 health. However, we won't know that for this video. If that's something you would like me to test in a future video, just let me know down in the comments. Now the last thing I wanted to test is the trophy system. We know how this piece of equipment works in multiplayer, but I kind of wanted to test exactly how it works in Blackout and find if there's any differences or cool ways of using it. Spoiler, there's a really cool way of using it we'll talk about at the end of the video. However, let's first talk about what exactly works and doesn't versus the trophy. So first of all of the classic stuff and everything you would expect it to counter. First of all, the cluster grenade, concussion grenade, Molotov, smoke. It counters all of those. However, I wanted to test some more rare occurrence things. The first was the sensor dart and the mesh mine, aka tripwire. And as far as these go, both are actually countered. Either you can't shoot across the path of a trophy system. They both blow up in your face and do a little bit of damage to you. So then I wanted to get into the things that don't normally explode. One, for example, is the combat axe. And as far as the combat axe goes, it does get blown up by the trophy system. However, it doesn't blow up in your face and doesn't do any damage to you. So then I wanted to take that a step further by going to raid, grabbing the basketball, and seeing if the trophy system actually countered that. And as it turns out, the basketball is not blown up by the trophy system, nor can you explode the trophy system with the basketball. It simply goes right through it, almost like they weren't programmed to act with each other at all. The other thing I wanted to test but wasn't able to is snowballs. Unfortunately, snowballs aren't currently in custom games, so I wasn't able to test them, but I'm curious how that would work. The other thing that the trophy system counters is obviously the Hellion Salvo, aka the rocket launcher. However, another item that is in Blackout but not multiplayer that I wanted to try was the ray gun. Simply because the ray gun has a different type of projectile, I wondered how it would work versus the trophy system. And as it turns out, the trophy does not counter the ray gun whatsoever. The ray goes right through the path of the trophy system and nothing happens. Also, the other piece of equipment I forgot to mention is the monkey bomb. The trophy system also counters this type of grenade, if you want to call it that, as well. But then there's finally that really cool use of the trophy system, and this is especially helpful if you're playing in solos and like driving the helicopter around, because as it turns out, you can actually put a trophy system in the helicopter, and if people shoot rockets at you, the trophy system blows the rockets out of the air and it doesn't do any damage to you. Now, you do have to be careful as to where you put the trophy system, the best place being right in the middle of the helicopter, because as you can see, as I put it off to the left hand side of the helicopter, when the rocket comes from the right, it still does damage to the helicopter and actually blows up the trophy system. So you want that trophy to be right in the middle middle of the helicopter so it can protect you from any angle. The other important thing to know about the trophy system in Blackout is that it can block a total of 5 different projectiles. After that, it explodes and is useless. So ladies and gentlemen, those are 5 things you probably didn't know about Blackout and PS4. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you did know, what you didn't know, or even some things you'd like me to test in the future. Also, these videos take a while to test and edit, so if you do enjoy them, it's always appreciated if you hit that like button. And if you like what you see here and want to stay up to date on all of my content, the best way to do so is make sure you hit that subscribe button and have notifications turned on. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.
You should say